Okay, let's start with a tough question. Imagine someone asks you, your money or your life.
Yeah,
Most of us, well, we hand over the wallet, right?
it seems obvious.
But what if we're making that same trade, just slower?
Yeah,
Day by day, maybe for a job we just tolerate. What if the security you're chasing isn't really found down that path?
that's a powerful thought. And it really gets to the heart of the book we're looking at today. It's your money or your life. 9 steps to transforming your relationship with money and achieving financial independence. Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez.
Exactly. And for everyone listening, this is where we unpack these kinds of foundational ideas about wealth, about purpose. We're digging into this classic text, looking at its mechanics, its philosophy,
Hmm.
and honestly, how surprisingly relevant it still is, especially now, with things feeling so turbulent financially. Our goal here is to break it down into something really useful for you.
Absolutely. And the timing. Wow. I mean, this book first hit big back in the early 90s. It basically launched the whole modern FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. But you could argue its message is even more crucial today. You look around, personal savings rates in the US are often bumping along near zero.
Yeah, it's worrying.
Debt feels totally normal, there's economic uncertainty, and everyone feels stretched thin, time-wise. This book, well, it offers a kind of roadmap for sanity, for stability, real security in a world that feels pretty chaotic sometimes.
Okay, so let's talk about that roadmap.
Sure.
Robin and Dominguez argue that most people are following what they call the old roadmap.
Uh-huh. The one from the industrial age, right, where piling up stuff equaled success.
Exactly that one. And it lays out this path most people don't even question. Work that 9 to 5 job until you hit 65.
Yeah. Trust the company pension, trust Social Security, hope it all works out.
And keep striving for that quote-unquote higher standard of living, which usually just means more things, more complicated consumption. Never mind the cost, emotionally or ethically or environmentally.
Right. And the core problem they point out is that the world changed, but the map didn't get updated.
Good way to put it.
Chasing endless growth, sure, it brought convenience, but maybe not deep satisfaction for a lot of people. We hit a point where the cost of maintaining that high standard starts to outweigh the actual benefit.
So that's where their new path comes in. It's focused on achieving something they call financial integrity.
Which then leads to financial independence, or FII. And the whole thing is structured around this 9-step program that Joe Dominguez developed.
Joe Dominguez, yeah, he's such a key part of this. A successful Wall Street analyst, right?
Yeah, and get this. He retired at 31.
31. That's amazing.
Especially back then.
1969. I mean, think about it. Corporate loyalty was everything. Early retirement wasn't really a thing. It was radical.
And how did he do it? Not crazy risks.
You know, that's the fascinating part. It wasn't high-risk stocks or market timing, none of the usual Wall Street stuff. It was just common sense, really meticulous self-accounting, and just questioning everything about working and spending.
He actually retired on the interest from Treasury bonds. Can you believe it? Super disciplined, not flashy at all. And that solid approach, that's what underpins the whole program.
Okay, so this 9-step program, it's designed to do 2 main things for you, for the listener. First is a transformation.
Right. A real shift in how you think about and relate to money, moving it away from fear or compulsion towards self-awareness and, well, integrity.
And the second outcome?
Independence. That's reaching the famous crossover point.
Ah, the crossover point. Explain that.
That's the moment when the income coming in from your investments, your capital, your money-making money, is enough to cover your living expenses each month.
So you don't have to trade your time for a wage anymore.
Exactly. You're free, liberated.
You know, what really stands out for me, philosophically, is this idea that beyond a certain point, like a comfortable baseline, more money, doesn't actually buy the happiness we think it will.
Yeah, studies totally back that up. Once your basic needs are met and that money stress is gone, piling up more stuff just adds complexity, clutter, even makes you less satisfied sometimes.
They call that the peak of the fulfillment curve. Huh?
Exactly, the Goldilocks spot. Too little, you're deprived. Too much, you're drowning in stuff and complication. The goal is finding that sweet spot, the point of enough.
Okay, let's dive into the core concept then, the big one. Money equals life energy.
Yes, this is the game changer. It pulls money out of just being about numbers and currency and puts it squarely in the realm of your personal finite life. Money isn't just dollars. It represents the hours, the focus, the mental effort, the physical toll, your actual life energy that you traded to get it.
So when you spend, say, $50,
Hmm.
You're spending a piece of your life.
Precisely. And that's radical because it makes finance about personal responsibility. It forces you to ask, okay, am I really willing to trade like 2 hours of my one precious life for this gadget or this
Yeah.
meal out?
That changes the calculation completely.
Yeah. And it leads right into step 2, where you have to calculate your real hourly wage. This forces some brutal honesty.
Because it's not just your paycheck divided by hours worked, is it?
Not even close. You have to subtract all those hidden job-related costs that eat away at what you actually take home in value.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Oh, everything. Commuting time, unpaid hours, commuting costs, gas, wear and tear, transit passes, the clothes you have to buy for work. Lunch is out because you're too rushed to pack one.
Childcare costs because of long hours.
Exactly. Even things like getting sick more often because of job stress. You add up all that extra time, subtract all those extra costs.
And your real wage suddenly looks smaller?
Often drastically smaller. The book gives examples like Jason, who was avoiding his finances, or Nidra, who had a shopping habit. They were shocked. They were essentially paying a huge hidden tax in life energy just for the privilege of having their jobs.
Wow. Realizing that must be tough emotionally. You look back and think about all the life energy maybe wasted on stuff that didn't bring real value.
It can be paralyzing, which is why the book introduces this crucial mantra: no shame, no blame.
Ah, okay. Tell us about that.
It's vital. The authors knew you can't start transforming from a place of beating yourself up. When you look at past spending, maybe overspending because you felt lonely or bored or stressed, you have to approach it with like compassionate self-awareness. Acknowledge it, understand maybe why it happened, but without judgment.
Because if you just feel guilty, you'll probably just fall back into old patterns, like a crash diet.
Exactly. Shame leads to unsustainable budgets that feel like punishment. You need to see the behavior, maybe recognize it was a coping mechanism, and then consciously choose differently going forward. Leave the guilt behind.
That self-compassion seems really necessary, especially when you consider the world we live in. This constant push to consume the money trap, as they call it.
Oh, it's relentless. You need that self-compassion buffer because the external pressure is huge.
The sheer scale of advertising.
Hmm.
Hundreds of billions spent every year just in the U.S. It's not just TV ads anymore.
No way. It's everywhere. Pop-ups on your phone, sponsored posts, product placement, ads on shopping carts. It's designed to just overwhelm your willpower to save.
And the cultural message is often that debt equals freedom.
Yeah.
Right. Buy now, pay later. Get the bigger house, the newer car.
Leverage yourself to the max. And then you realize you're trapped by the payments, stuck in a job you might hate just to keep up.
But the book flips that script completely. It says savings equals freedom.
That's the core shift. Having liquid assets, money you can access, gives you options.
The option to leave a bad job.
The option to weather a layoff without losing your house.
The option to start a business, maybe. Or just take time off.
Exactly. People who adopt this mindset consciously choose to live below their means. They step off that hyper-consumer treadmill, and guess what? They often find way less stress and way more happiness.
It connects to that idea of the gazingis pin. That's their term for it.
Yeah.
What? Clutter. Excess.
Yeah, basically anything you own that's past the peak of fulfillment on that curve we talked about. It's stuff that doesn't really serve you anymore, but it demands your time, your energy, maybe storage space.
It becomes a liability instead of an asset.
Totally. We all have them, right? That kitchen gadget used once, the boxes in the attic.
Or the example in the book, the woman with 38 almost identical white sweaters.
Oh, that one's heartbreaking. Perfectly folded, pristine. But it wasn't about needing sweaters. It was clearly something else, maybe addictive shopping, trying to fill some void with the brief hit of buying something.
And once that fleeting pleasure wore off, the sweaters just became reminders of that unfulfilled need.
Yeah. And this ties into a bigger cultural critique they make. We've shifted from thinking of ourselves as citizens, people who contribute, to primarily identifying as consumers. And the dictionary definition of consume includes things like use up, waste, destroy, squander.
Wow, that's Nusker.
Ah.
And the opposite of good stewardship.
Diametrically opposed. And they argued this wasn't an accident. It started way back early 20th century. Industry met basic needs, and then, what? Workers started wanting shorter hours, more leisure.
Which wasn't good for continuous economic growth.
Right. So the deliberate strategy became encourage people to desire and buy more things, make consumption seem like the main virtuous activity. And we're still living with that legacy.
Okay, so how do we break free from that old map, that consumer pressure? The program starts with awareness, right? Steps 1 through 4.
Yep, the foundation. And they're really clear. This is about management, not budgeting.
Why the distinction?
Because they argue budgets, like diets, often fail because they only treat the symptom, the spending. They don't get at the cause, which might be emotional triggers, lack of awareness, unmet needs.
Got it. So step 1, making peace with the past.
Exactly. Calculate your lifetime earnings, everything you've ever brought in, and then calculate your current net worth assets minus liabilities.
Face the numbers, no more hiding.
Right, it forces accountability. But it also shows you how powerful you actually are at generating money over time. It's often more than people realize.
I bet that step alone is eye-opening for people.
Hugely. The book mentions someone who did this, looked at the value of all their accumulated stuff, and realized, hey, if I sold off all this excess, I could invest it and be financially independent right now.
Wow. The power was there, just hidden by lack of awareness.
Exactly. Then comes step 3, the monthly tabulation, tracking every single penny that comes in and goes out.
Okay, that's the one that sounds tedious to a lot of people.
It can seem that way, but the key is how you do it. It's not just listing expenses. It's creating your own personalized subcategories.
So not just food, but maybe groceries, work lunches, restaurant fund.
Precisely. Or for clothes, maybe need for work versus bought on impulse. Whatever makes sense for your life and your spending patterns. This detailed, personalized map shows you exactly where your life energy is flowing. You start to see the unconscious drains.
And once you have that detailed map of where the money, the life energy is going, step 4.
Step 4 turns that tracking into conscious decision-making. You start asking 3 questions about every category of spending. These are like filters.
Okay, what's the first question?
Did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to the life energy spent?
Ooh, okay. So comparing the cost in life hours to the actual benefit received.
Exactly. It forces you to create your own internal measure of value. Did that purchase really deliver, or did it fall short? Did it push you past the peak of that fulfillment curve?
I can see how that would change behavior. It's not about deprivation, it's about optimization, getting the most fulfillment for your precious life energy.
Right. And they mention how it helps in relationships, too. Like Ted and Martha. Ted kept buying gadgets he didn't use. Instead of nagging, Martha could ask, honey, did that new gadget give you fulfillment equal to the, say, 3 days of life energy it cost?
Shifts it from accusation to objective reflection.
Totally. Okay, second question. Is this expenditure of life energy in alignment with my values and purpose?
The integrity check. Does my spending match what I say I care about?
Bingo. If you say you value family time, but you're constantly buying things that force you to work overtime, there's a disconnect. Your spending isn't aligned with your stated values.
This connects to that idea of finding meaning, like Viktor Frankl talked about. Purpose being more important than just pleasure or power.
Yes, the authors definitely lean on that. If your purpose is clear, you're less likely to get sidetracked by impulse buys that don't really serve that purpose.
Like the example of Tom C., the school administrator.
Yeah, successful, secure, but miserable. He realized his purpose was contributing to solving bigger world problems. His high-paying job didn't align with that at all.
So he took a pay cut.
A significant one.
Right.
To do consulting work that did align. And suddenly, his life felt authentic. His security shifted from just the bank balance to his conscience, to living with integrity.
Powerful stuff. And the third question.
This one really tests your view of independence. If I didn't have to work for a living, how would I be spending my time?
If the answer is radically different from your current work.
Then you've found the gap between your paid work and maybe your life's real work, your true purpose. It also shows how dependent you might be.
How so?
Well, think about it. Who's more independent? The person earning enough to pay someone $400 to fix a leaky faucet, or the person who has the time and skills to fix it themselves for $20?
Good point. If your job eats all your time, you have to outsource everything.
Home repairs, cooking, maybe even childcare. It makes you incredibly reliant on that high income just to function.
Okay, so those first 4 steps are all about awareness and asking the hard questions. What comes next? Steps 5, 6, 7 seem to be about putting that awareness into action.
Exactly. This is where the transformation really starts to take visible shape. Step 5 is crucial, creating the wall chart.
A visual tool.
Yes, a big graph you literally put on your wall. You plot 2 lines over time. One is your total monthly expenses. The other is your total monthly income from investments, your passive income.
Okay, I see. So you can track the gap between what you spend and what your money earns for you.
Precisely. That gap represents your financial dependency, or hopefully your growing cushion. The chart makes the path to the crossover point, where the income line crosses above the expense line, tangible and measurable.
So FFI isn't just a vague dream, it's a point on a chart you're actively moving towards.
That's the power of it. And it fuels step 6, which is valuing your life energy by minimizing spending. You take all that awareness from steps 1 to 4, look at your detailed spending map, and you consciously start cutting out the gazingas pins, the misaligned spending, the stuff that didn't pass the fulfillment question.
And again, it's not about feeling deprived.
No, it's optimization. If you realized spending $300 on vanity clothes gave you zero real satisfaction, cutting that expense feels like reclaiming your life energy, not sacrifice. You can redirect that energy towards things that do matter investing, saving for something purposeful.
Which leads nicely into step 7,
Yeah.
maximizing income. But it's not just about working more hours, is it?
Not necessarily. It's about making sure the life energy you do trade for money is valued fairly and used effectively. Maybe it means negotiating a raise based on your actual value.
Or finding a job that pays better and is more fulfilling.
Right. Or maybe developing an income stream that aligns better with your values and uses your energy more efficiently. The point is, steps 6 and 7 work together.
Lowering expenses makes the FI target smaller.
And increasing income helps you reach it faster. Both actions widen that gap on the wall chart, accelerating your journey to the crossover point. It's integrity in action.
So living this way leads to a life of frugality. But the book redefines that word too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Frugality gets a bad rap, like it means being cheap or miserable.
Yeah, deprivation.
But they define it as right use. It's about stewardship, efficiency, being skillful and harvesting happiness from your resources, including your life energy.
Finding that Goldilocks zone, again, maximizing value, minimizing waste, getting the most lasting satisfaction for the life energy spent.
Exactly. And that leads to some really practical, wise strategies, like meeting needs differently or substitution.
How does that work?
Think about when gas prices shot up in 2008. What happened? Public transit use surged.
Ah, right. People still needed to get around.
They just substituted. They swapped an expensive private solution, driving alone, for a cheaper, often more efficient public one, bus or train, or using one good heavy pot instead of 5 specialized kitchen gadgets. Simple, efficient substitutions.
Another one seems almost too simple. Take care of what you have.
Profoundly simple, yet often ignored. Basic maintenance. Regular oil changes make your car last years longer, saving you tens of thousands.
Or flossing your teeth.
That's frugality. Totally. Costs pennies, takes minutes, saves you potentially thousands in dental bills down the road. It's preventative maintenance for your body and your wallet.
And we touched on this, but the power of DIY and learning skills.
Crucial for real independence. Being able to cook, mend, fix basic things around the house. It makes you less reliant on having to constantly earn money to pay others.
But frugality doesn't have to be isolating, right? The book talks about community solutions.
Yes, this is key. It doesn't have to be just you against the world. Pooling resources makes everyone richer. Think tool lending libraries in neighborhoods.
Or babysitting co-ops.
Classic example. Parent swap childcare. It's free, builds trust, kids socialize, win-win-win. They also mention things like LATS systems or time dollars local bartering networks.
Using time or local credits instead of standard money.
Right. Building resilience and interdependence within the community itself. Or home swapping for vacations, using trust and shared assets to travel affordably.
And this whole stewardship idea, this right use, connects directly to the environment. The Pogonomics principle.
Yeah, I love that term. The idea is that every dollar spent is essentially a claim on Earth's resources. It takes energy to make stuff, ship stuff, dispose of stuff.
So being frugal, consuming less overall, focusing on enough instead of more, is actually one of the most effective ways to be green.
Inherently.
Yeah.
Less consumption equals less environmental impact. They even caution against rushing to replace perfectly functional old things with new, eco-friendly versions sometimes.
Why that?
Because the environmental cost of manufacturing and shipping that new green item can outweigh the benefit, especially if the old one still works fine. Use things until they truly wear out. That's often the greenest choice.
Okay, so you follow the steps, you embrace this mindful frugality, you're tracking everything, and that gap between income and expenses on your wall chart starts to widen. Savings grow.
Right. And this is where you transition into the final stages, steps 8 and 9. This is about transforming those savings into capital.
What's the difference? Savings versus capital.
It's crucial. Savings are usually for short-term goals or emergencies, that cushion we talked about. Capital is different. It's money put to work, invested specifically to generate more money passively.
That's the engine for reaching the crossover point.
Exactly. You need to build enough capital so its earnings cover your expenses. But, and this is a big but from Jared Dominguez.
All right.
He hammered home this morning. Nothing is certain in investing. Nothing is totally foolproof. You absolutely must educate yourself and think critically.
He had that story about the Tsarist bond, right?
Yeah, he'd show people this old yellowed bond from Imperial Russia. Coupons clipped right up until 1917. Then the revolution happened. Bond became worthless.
A very tangible reminder that things can change drastically. Politics, inflation, economies.
Exactly. No guarantees. Which is why the program recommends structuring your finances for resilience using the 3 pillars of financial independence, or FI3.
Okay, break down the 3 pillars.
Pillar 1 is the main capital. That's the core investment portfolio designed to generate enough passive income to cover your regular living expenses long term. This is the big number you're aiming for.
Pillar 2.
The cushion. This is easily accessible cash, not invested for growth, just sitting safe. Enough to cover, say, 6 months to a year of your expenses.
For emergencies. Or market downturns.
Both. So you don't have to sell your capital investments at a bad time if the market dips or you have an unexpected large expense. It protects the core engine.
And pillar 3.
The cash, pronounced like cash. This is extra surplus money you might accumulate after your capital and cushion are secure, thanks to continuing the habits from the 9 steps.
What's the cash for?
Bigger planned expenses down the road, replacing a car, a new roof, or maybe for funding passion projects, service work, significant charitable giving. It's the overflow, used intentionally.
Okay, so for investing that main capital pillar, what did Dominguez recommend?
He focused on 2 main approaches, depending on risk tolerance. For very low risk, he was a big fan of treasury bonds.
Government bonds. Safe, reliable income.
Right. Principal protection, dependable interest, usually tax advantages. The key for FI, though, was having enough capital invested so you could live just off the interest without ever needing to touch the principal amount.
And for those okay with a bit more risk, maybe to fight inflation better.
Then the focus shifts to low-fee, broadly diversified investments. Things like index funds or maybe lifestyle funds fit this perfectly. The absolute emphasis is on keeping costs minimal and keeping it simple.
That low-fee part sounds important.
Critically important. Especially over decades. High fees, like the 1% or 2% some actively managed funds charge, just eat away at your returns year after year. Compounding works against you. It can cost you hundreds of thousands over an investing lifetime.
So the FI approach is about maximizing value, lowest possible fees for broad market exposure. Passively managed funds.
Exactly. Things like no-load funds, where you don't pay a big commission up front. Or lifestyle funds, which are pre-diversified, making it super simple if you don't want to actively manage asset allocation. Whether bonds or stock funds, the goal is always maximum return for minimal cost.
So when you put all these pieces together, the awareness, the tracking, the questions, the frugality, the investing, what's the ultimate outcome? What's the big message here?
At the end of the day, this whole system, it's less about just piling up money and more about valuing your life energy.
Yeah.
It's a framework for moving from feeling like there's never enough, that scarcity mindset, to a place of sufficiency, knowing what enough truly looks like for you.
So when faced with that choice, your money or your life,
You get to say, actually, I'll take both, thank you. Financial independence gives you the freedom, the time, the energy to pursue your purpose. And that, arguably, is a higher form of security.
like Tom C., leaving that secure job to work on things that matter to him.
Or Steve W. finally having the space to pursue his writing dream after getting his finances sorted. Or others who reach FI and suddenly have the bandwidth to mend relationships, volunteer, contribute to their communities in meaningful ways.
And that security isn't just in the bank account, is the book talks about community and conscience, too.
Right. That point about building strong friendships, community bonds, that network provides a different kind of security, maybe even more robust and reliable than just a stock portfolio. Dave Wampler's story illustrates that.
So honoring your time, finding alignment, being a good steward, connecting with community, that's the real payoff.
That feels like the core message from Vicki, Robin, and Joe Dominguez, yeah. It's about empowering you, the listener, to stop trading away your one finite, incredibly precious resource, your life, unconsciously.
A powerful call to reclaim your life energy.
If you enjoyed today's discussion and maybe feel inspired to start charting your own course towards that crossover point, be sure to subscribe. And visit founderwallets.com for more content, resources, and tools to help you live wisely and build wealth with purpose.